Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be making Southern tomato gravy. So break out your cast iron skillets because you'll definitely need it for this one. And I know it sounds weird, but I made this in a cast iron skillet and I made it in a non-stick skillet, and I swear the one in the cast iron skillet you could taste a difference. So break out your cast iron, you're going to need it for this one. And basically when we're cooking breakfast, we'll start with either bacon or sausage, preferably something like Conecuh. But whatever you're going to do, you need a couple tablespoons of the drippings or the fat that's left over. So if you're doing this, you might just need maybe 3 pieces of bacon, something like that. I've got way too much here, but this is liquid gold. You want to save your bacon drippings, so set those off to the side. Now I'm going to leave a couple tablespoons of this in the pan. And then from there, I get a little heavy-handed with the flour here, so kind of ignore what I did there. Do as I say, not as I do. If you're going to do this, do a couple tablespoons of the drippings and a couple tablespoons of the flour, because you'll see here I end up where I needed to add a couple more tablespoons of the bacon fat drippings to the pan to kind of get it a little more liquidy. It was a little more dry, and then actually the gravy turned out at the end a little thicker than what I normally like it. It was still delicious, don't get me wrong, but it was definitely a little thicker than what I normally make. So from here we're going to use 3 cans of tomatoes, and if you can find a grandmother or an aunt who cans tomatoes in the garden, holy cow, you've got a gold mine, because there's nothing better than that. But we'll have to settle with canned tomatoes for this one, and so I use a variety. I use a can of Rotel or the diced tomatoes with the green chilies, and I use a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, and then later on I'll actually add another can of stewed tomatoes. So if you don't have that wonderful grandmother or aunt that's canning their tomatoes right out of the garden, you're going to need 3 cans total, and the cans roughly are in between 10 to 15 ounces, and you could do a variety, whatever flavor combination floats your boat, that's fine. I like the combination of the stewed, the fire roasted, and the Rotel, but we like things really spicy in our family. So you might want to do all diced, you might want to do all fire roasted or all stewed. It's just, you can pick whatever flavor combinations you like. Basically, as you're adding each can in, you want to make sure your roux is getting dissolved into your tomatoes and your tomato juice. You want to make sure there's not lumps of roux in there. It'll be lumpy with the tomatoes, but you want to make sure there's no lumps of roux in there, that everything is well combined. Once we're sure that our roux is fully dissolved in our tomatoes and tomato liquid, then we're basically going to just let it simmer and let it cook for maybe 5-10 minutes on just a low heat. 10 might be a little much, maybe 5. And then after that, you want to taste it and see how it is. Usually I'll always add black pepper and some salt. I do kind of a sprinkling of black pepper, and I'll add a teaspoon of salt and whisk that all together. But definitely taste it before you add any salt and pepper, because it may be perfectly to your liking without any salt or pepper. And finally, we'll give this one last taste before we're ready to serve. And traditionally in the South, this is served over buttermilk biscuits. And we do buttermilk biscuits, we do sourdough biscuits, and actually our family eats this over buttermilk pancakes, which sounds really crazy, I'm sure, but believe me, it is delicious. Instead of doing butter and syrup, we just do the tomato gravy, and it is so good. You have to try it. So let me know in the comments if you've ever had tomato gravy, or if you're going to give it a shot, if you're going to try it over pancakes or biscuits. I'll definitely be curious to see. And like always, I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.